Welcome to all of you in the GS University CIS campus lecture. And today, the topic we are going to discuss is the motion of the earth. We have decided to divide this lecture in the three parts. In the first parts, we people are dealing with the rotation. In the second parts, we are dealing with the Coriolis force. And in the third part, we are dealing with the revolution. The effect of the rotation on the earth, the effect of the Coriolis force on the earth, and the effect and the repercussion of the revolution on the earth. In detail, we are going to discuss. That's why this topic has been divided into the three portions. Otherwise, the topic would have been ended itself only in the single lecture. Before starting the lecture, I must tell you that you people just need to understand this lecture, and the written color notes have been provided through a link given in the description box of this lecture. Before starting the lecture, I am asking you, if you like, if you think, if you observe, if you analyze that this channel has the utility in your study, then only you people have to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, you people are free to take your decision. If this is relevant for you, or you have think that the knowledge is utilizing for my personal momentum, then only please subscribe and like this channel. We are providing the free of cost education up to the civil service level, and my prime motto is to provide the education of the civil service and the defense services level. Otherwise, in the market, there are the several institutions which can provide you the services except the other civil services and the defense services. So, before starting the lecture, myself Chandrasekhar, Managing Director CIS Campus, GS University channel, YouTube channel. And if you are viewing our channel first time, then please stay for that moment and observe and analyze the lecture in its totality. So, we are starting the lecture, the motions of the earth, and we know that in the motion of the earth, we had two types of the motion. That means earth always remained in the two type of the constant motions, and one is rotation and second one is revolution. Now in the rotation and the revolution, in the rotation earth rotate on its axis, and in the revolution earth take or around the or take a revolution or take a round around the sun. How? If we are seeing the earth like this, that means earth in the motion, but this motion is rotation. Simultaneously earth is doing another motion, and that is called revolution. And for that purpose, suppose this is the sun and I am putting this ball here. Assume this ball is here and this is the sun. So in the another motion, earth is taking a round around the sun or taking a circumference around the sun, that is called the revolution. So simultaneously earth is always in the two motion, revolution and rotation. This one is revolution, this one is rotation and this one is revolution. In the revolution, earth take a round around the sun. So the first part is related to the rotation. The second part is related to Coriolis force. What is this force? So I must tell you in the brief point that this force is the byproduct or the production of the rotation, Coriolis force, which we are going to discuss in the lecture number 2. And in the third part of this lecture, we are going to discuss the revolution. So now we are starting the rotation. So that motion of the earth in which earth rotate on its axis is called rotation. That motion of the earth in which earth rotate on its axis, that is called rotation, that motion in which earth rotate on its axis. Now what is axis? That imaginary line, just a moment. Axis, ideal. Now for that moment, just forget this word and concentrate on the axis. That imaginary line which passing through the center of the earth from the interior, that imaginary line which is passing through the center of the earth and connecting to both North Pole and South Pole is called axis. I repeat, axis is a imaginary line. That imaginary line, for the time being, look at the miniature model of the earth, to which we called globe. Now in this miniature model, the axis is that rod which is passing through this sphere and connecting this point and this point, and we are supposing this point is the North Pole and this point is the South Pole. So that imaginary line which connecting to the North Pole and the South Pole and passing through the center of the earth from the interior side, that is called axis. Now if the earth have been or could have been in the ideal state, so that it looked like in this standoff, in this position, but we always see that earth is in like a tilted position. So in the nomenclature, I am calling this line as the ideal axis if the earth had not have been inclined toward the west. But in the real position, earth is inclined toward its west direction, and the inclination is how much? 23.5 degree. So the earth is inclined on its axis by the 23.5 degrees. So the inclination angle of the axis is 23.5 degree. If this could not have been, then this angle must be 90 degree. But in the real form, in the real state, the earth is inclined 23.5 degree to its west. Now, so this angle is 90 minus 23.5 degree, that is 66.5 degree. So the angle of the earth to its orbital plane is 66.5 degree. The angle of the earth to its orbital plane is 66.5 degree. The angle of the earth, the angle of the axis inclination is 23.5 degree. And in the previous lecture, I have told you that if the axis is inclined, so the equator must also be inclined. So the lowest point in the southern hemisphere, from the lowest point of inclination in the southern hemisphere, we draw a straight line, and that is called Tropic of Capricorn. And how this, and this is how these two lines have been drawn, that is Tropic of the Cancer, and in the northern hemisphere, sorry, Tropic of Capricorn, and in northern hemisphere Tropic of Cancer. That's why both these Cancer are having the angle 23.5 degree north and 23.5 degree south. Why? Because the axis is inclined, so the equator must be inclined lowest point, and this is the uppermost point. So from the uppermost points, we draw a straight line in the northern hemisphere, that is called Tropic of Cancer. So the angle must be 23.5, and in the southern hemisphere we have the Tropic of Capricorn, and the angle should be the same, 23.5 degree. Okay, I repeat, That imaginary line which passing through the center of the earth and connecting both the south pole and the north pole, that is called the axis. Axis is inclined toward the west by the 23.5 degree, and that is called the inclination of the axis. Because of the inclination of the axis, the earth angle to its orbital plane becomes to 66.5 degree, and that's how, because the inclination of the axis we have, then also the inclination of the reposition of the displacement of the equator, and that's how we have the tropic of the Capricorn and the tropic of the Cancer. So, and the motion, we are cleared with the axis. Now if we are cleared with the axis, come to the rotation. So here the rotation, the motion in which earth rotate on its axis is called rotation, and the rotation should be like this. So in the inclined form or the inclined position, earth makes its rotation. So earth is doing its rotation on the inclination of 23.5 degree. This is the real position. If this could not have been, and the axis must be in the ideal straight line, then the rotation could be like this. But earth is doing its rotation at the inclination of the 23.5 degree toward the west. Now, so that we have the angle toward the west, and the direction of the rotation is from west to east. Direction of the rotation is from west to east, and the speed of the rotation is 465 meter per second, almost in the round figure 500 meter per second. Though this is the correct figure, this is I am telling you only in the round figure to take a assumption that how fast we are moving. So always with the passing of the 1 second, we are moving 500 meter ahead in the speed or in the motion of rotation. So the direction of the rotation is from west to east, and the speed of the rotation is the speed of the rotation is 465 meter per second. Now, if we have the rotation, then what should be the effect on the earth? So look here. The coming 6 points are as a effect of the rotation on the earth. I am sure the 2 points you people must have listened. Next 2 points you must have listened or not, and the last 2 points you 100% you haven't listened. So look here carefully. Assume this is sun, a smaller one? No. In fact, the size of the sun is 109 times of the earth. So I am drawing a parallel circle and assuming it is sun. And if we have the sun, then we have the sun rays, right? Why we have the sun rays in the sun? Both the earth and the sun are the example of the celestial body. Another differentiation is that celestial body which have its own heat and light is called star. That celestial body which have its own heat and light is called star, and that celestial body which do not have its own heat and light is called planet. So that's why the earth is planet and the sun is a star. And if we have the sun as our star, certainly it must have its light, and light are coming in the form of the sun rays. If the sun rays are coming or dropping on the earth, then I am drawing another imaginary line over here, and dividing the earth into the two equal vertical half. Right? So if we have the sun here, that because the sun is rising in the east, so we have the sun in the east. If the sun is here, then this portion should have day, because this portion in the front of sun, and this portion is to the back part of the sun, and this portion must have night. So the first effect of the rotation on the earth is causing day and night, causing day and night. Day and night. Next, so the first result or the outcome of the rotation on the earth is day and night. So day and night are the product of the rotation, not the revolution. Next, if the earth is static, not in the motion, and we have assumed the sun is here, right? So the sun rays are coming on the surface of the earth, and if the earth is static, not in the motion, this portion of the earth always receiving the sunlight and the heat. And if this portion is continuously receiving the light and the heat, particularly the heat, the temperature must be out of the limit where you can live. So the life could not have been existed on the earth if the earth could not have been in the motion of the rotation, because the temperature is the hyper, और यहाँ पे क्या होता, और here the temperature as the frost limit. अभी इधर होता तो सब जम जाते, इधर होते तो सब जल जाते. Finished. So the life could not have been existed on the earth. Life not existed on the earth. Next, equal distribution of what? Of temperature. Earth is not in the static position, so the earth is rotating and the sun is here. If the sun is here, the sunlight are coming on the earth's surface, but the earth is in the motion of rotation. So the portion coming to the front of the sun is receiving the light and the heat of the sun and passed away. And here you have the night. You don't receiving the light and the heat of the sun. So the portion which is coming to the front of the sun, receiving the light and the heat and passing away, receiving the light and the heat and the passing away, receiving the light and the heat and the passing away, receiving the light and the heat and the passing away. Right? So because of the rotation, we have the equal distribution of the temperature. These three effects are we clear? The rotation causing day and night. Rotation is causing the life on the earth. Though another factor may be additional, but this is the primary factor of the existing of the life on the earth. That much contribution is not coming from the revolution. And the equal distribution of the temperature on the surface of the earth. That's why the earth is being a unit of the livable, where you can live, habitable. Now, so the line which is dividing the day and night, the line which is a constant continuous demarcation is called circle of illumination, because whatever the speed or the direction of the rotation, the half part will be in the front of the sun. This is the sun, and the half part will be the backward to the sun. So that the place or the circle which is dividing the day and the night on the sun is called the circle of illumination. Next, as we know, we are going to discuss, when we are picking the topic of internal structure of the earth, what is the internal structure of the earth. But for this topic being, I am giving a brief point about the internal structure of the earth. And when we move downward from our feet, we find three major dividation in the internal structure of the earth, and this one is called core, then mantle, and then crust. Core, mantle, crust, the three broad division or the concentric layer in the internal structure of the earth. Now there are again subdivision, and in this subdivision we have the two division in the core, and this one is inner core, and this one is outer core. This is the body of mass of the earth, though we have the 85% volume over the mantle. And from the outer core, emergence of what? Magnetic field. So the earth on which we have the magnetic field, that is emerging from the outer core, and simultaneously this body also producing the gravitational pull of the earth. So from the core we have on the earth the magnetic field and the gravitational pull. Now assume here this one is earth and here and here. What? We have the huge water bodies, those are called ocean. And this is the center of the earth. Suppose this is the Atlantic Ocean, second largest, and this one is the Pacific Ocean. And we are standing here. So whosoever you are saying, look, I am at the upper state or the position, and you are at the lower position. This person is getting the base in the form of crust, that's why he is in the static position at this point. So why this is not going down or scattering into the space? Just because the gravitational pull of the earth, everything, whether it is organic or inorganic, living or non-living, the earth gravitational pull is pulling everything towards its center. The earth gravitational pull is pulling everything towards its center. That's why everything is maintaining its balance on the earth, right? So if we have the huge water bodies, so simultaneously we have the crustal form, and along with it we have our atmosphere. Here we have air, and here we have water. Air and water. Now if we have the air and the water, and they are doing a particular activity with the particular characteristics, then from the air we have wind. Why you say pavan? And from water we have oceanic current. And because of the rotation, we have the blowing of the wind and oceanic current. So the fourth outcome, wind movement and ocean current. So due to the rotation, we have the wind movement and the movement of the oceanic current, right? Simultaneously, another characteristic of the water in the special circumstances, we have tide. So due to the rotation, the tide originate on the earth. Due to the rotation, the tide originate on the earth. So the first impact of the rotation in the day and night, second impact light, third impact equal distribution of the temperature or the heat over the surface of the earth, then blowing of the wind and the circulation of the oceanic current, then emergence of the tide, and the last one which I have already explained, what? Magnetic field. Magnetic field. So due to the rotation, we have these effects on the earth, because due to the rotation with the speed of the 500 kilometer per second, 500 meter per second, there is always a churning process. Samundra Manthan suna na? Churning. There is always a churning process, and that's because of this churning process, the various concentric layer, that is the surface, mantle and the cores, are formed in the internal structure of the earth, and along with it, with the chemical composition, the core is producing the magnetic field, and because of this magnetic field, the core along with the gravitational pull attract or the pull everything towards its center, and that's why the earth is livable, because everything get its base or the static position over the surface of the earth. So this we have all done with the rotation. We are done with the circle of the illumination. First we are done with the axis, imaginary line connecting the North Pole and the South Pole passing through the center of the earth. Then we have the circle of the illumination, the 50% part which is facing the sun. On that 50% part we have the day, and the 50% part of the earth, actually it is not 50%, it is 51%, and it is almost 49%. So that portion of the earth which is not facing the sun, having the night, and that place or the boundary or the point of the demarcation which demarcating the day and the night on the sun is called the circle of the illumination. And then we have done that the rotation is from west to east direction, and the axis inclination is 23.5%, and the angle of the axis from its orbital plane is 66.5 degree, and then we have the speed of the rotation 465 meter per second, and then the effect of the rotation on the earth, the most important effect, the life distance, and then the equal distribution of the temperature on the earth, the movement of the wind, and the emergence of the ocean current in the tide, and the emergence of the magnetic field over the earth. So for the first parts we are done here. In the second part of this lecture or this topic, we are going to discuss the Coriolis force. Why we have the blowing of the wind, why we have the deflection in the blowing of the wind, or the ocean currents, or the cyclones, or ice movement. This year we are going to discuss in the next lecture, where we are going to discuss the Coriolis force, and the last part we will discuss the revolution with the broad diagrams drawn over this board. So if you are satisfied with this today's lecture and you think that this knowledge has the utility in your life, then please subscribe and please subscribe this channel and like this video. We, under the banner of the GS University CIS Campus YouTube channel, has initiated the free of cost Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, particularly for the civil service aspirant and the defense aspirant, because bearing the expenses of the civil services is not in the reach of everybody. So those who are outside the periphery now don't need to be bothered anymore. The GS University is here to serve for the best. Thank you for all. Thank you for bye. Good night. Vande Mataram.